Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody. My name is MiAh the King, and the other day I bought a thesaurus, but when I got home and opened it, all the pages were blank. I have no words to describe how angry I am. Now then, today we're taking a look at a game just released on Steam called Conscript, developed by Jordan MiAh and Catchweight Studio, published by Team 17, released not in early access and selling for $20. It's nice to see the shameless actions of AAA companies come to fruition in a self-proclaimed indie studio like Team 17. I mean, they're even adapting the same awful practices of the most greedy of the most greedy. I cannot possibly fathom why in the hell would a game like this require deluxe editions. Want to know what you get for your extra $4 or your extra $7? A soundtrack and some cosmetics. Yay. But whatever, let's just look at the base game. So, what is this game? Well, believe it or not, this is actually considered a survival horror experience. It's my first ever horror experience solo. What a marvelous day. So, this game is a survival horror atmospheric game that takes place during World War I. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I very much enjoy World War related games, and this is no exception. You play as this guy whose name starts with a P. I only read it once, so I don't remember it, and it's French, and I'd hate to mispronounce it anyway. So, yeah, he's at war, fighting in a trench, when suddenly his trench is overrun and he needs to escape. Along the way, he gets captured and wakes up later to have to now try and survive behind enemy lines in his old trench and find a way to contact his allies or just get to safety without getting killed. Now, this is where the horror part comes in, with low lighting, low amounts of resources and equipment, and having to face down hordes of enemies popping up from around corners. So, let's dive further into this sucker with the positives. So, the first positive is the attention to detail in the artistic graphical design. Now sure, it's just a pixelated game, so it's not going to be the best looking, but somehow they still managed to capture quite a lot of detail despite that fact. I actually think the pixel design here was a very good choice, as it makes the gameplay feel better and blend together better. I could still pinpoint tiny specific details as I trudge around dark trenches, and I gotta give them credit for that. I mean, I think what really sold it on me was the close-up of a portrait, I think it was, and it had like a lot of details in the family members or the people or whatever, and when I saw that, I thought to myself, okay, that's a good sign. They actually use the pixel graphics appropriately here. So, that was good. Next up for the positives is the sound design. Now, there's no voice acting here, which is fine, I guess, since you don't really do or witness a lot of talking here, but in terms of ambiance and music and sound effects, it all sounds top-notch. The thing that really gets me is the ambiance and the music. I was listening to them as I was writing this script. The sound effects are good, but man, listening to that depressing-ass music and hearing shells blowing up far off in the distance is just chilling. The game really impresses upon you the dark and hopeless mood of your situation with all of its background sounds, and it was definitely the best part of the game. The next positive that I'd like to go into is the stability and the user interface. While playing this, I got a lot of Resident Evil vibes in terms of the user interface and gameplay controls. For instance, you have limited backpack space. You can examine items, you can combine items in your backpack, you have little safe rooms scattered about with save points, a merchant guy who can buy and sell things to you but can also upgrade your gear for you. You also have a storage container in there where you can store all the stuff that you find to open up your backpack. And as you're traversing around the map, you're going to need certain items that you've collected along the way to unlock the next section. The user interface itself is just simple and easy to understand and navigate once you learn the key bindings. And then you've got the stability, and for the most part, the game ran very smoothly for me. It didn't really glitch out or bug out or crash or drop frames or anything like that, so it played very well and very smoothly, which was just very nice. And now, because I want to, after the last point, I want to talk about the gameplay. I already kind of mentioned it in my last point, but let me go further. So you have a top-down angle on your character, a health bar, a stamina bar, a hot bar, and then you've got scavenging mechanics. You use cigarettes as currency in this game, and you basically just need to survive. There's no food or water or sleep meters, so it's not that kind of survival game, but you still need to be careful when moving about. There's tons of different stuff here that I worry I won't be able to get to it all, but basically you'll find yourself running around these trenches, picking up notes for clues and hints, grabbing whatever supplies you can find, trudging back to your safe room to store it all, buy upgrades, and then upgrade your gun, and then head back out to do it again, possibly taking a key item from your storage to unlock the next area. I mean, that's pretty much the whole gameplay here. And last but not least, for the positives, is the price tag. The price here is freaking spot on. In fact, if I'm being honest, in my personal opinion, I think this game is probably worth more. It's probably worth $25, not $20. It's just really well put together and really well designed and just done in a lot of ways. And when you think of all the mechanics here and the gameplay and the sound effects and just everything else, I think this price tag is just super awesome. It was really refreshing to see this price tag for a game of this quality. Okay, so that's all I got for the positives. Up next is the negatives. However, before we go into that, I gotta do the self-promotion thing. I know, it's annoying, but if I don't promote myself, how can I expect others to? So let's just try to keep this short and sweet. If you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell, it helps support the growth of my channel. The more I grow, the more money I earn. The more money I earn, the more games I can buy and review to help you guys save money. It also helps me stop being flat-ass broke, because I am. I'm broke as shit. So please consider doing something nice for me that costs you nothing. Thank you. Okay then, now that shamelessness is over with, on to the negatives. Shamelessness? Shameless? Whatever. On to the negatives. The first negative I have is the gameplay itself. Now, it does have a few issues. Now, I'm going to give you a few examples of these few issues. The game's combat is awkward and unnecessarily difficult, and I don't mean difficult as in the game's too hard, I can't beat it. No, I'm playing on easy and I've died twice, but not because the game is hard, but because the game's controls are awkward, and the gameplay during combat doesn't make sense. You need to type and hold the Q button to ready your weapon. Then you aim your pixelated crosshair at the enemy and click. Seems a little bit unnecessary to me. You could have just used a click or two to do that. You cannot combat roll when you're aiming or reloading, and since those are the only times you really need it, it seems poorly designed. Why would I need to roll from the enemy when I can sprint and they can't? So I could just sprint away. You can't roll in the middle of your attack either, so if you're swinging your melee weapon and they're swinging a bigger melee weapon, then tough luck, I guess. You can't get out of the way in time. There's also no blocking. Another issue is the map. I think the biggest issue for me is there's no "you are here" marker on the map. I mean, you have this little reticule thing that I think is supposed to be you and your location, but if you go looking around on the map, then that reticule moves too, and then you don't know where you are again, and you gotta open it back up, and that just seems very poorly designed in my opinion. So, the gameplay isn't perfect. It does have its issues. I mean, it's a survival horror / horror game, yet there's no mechanic for sneaking at all. You can hide in very rare places, but early on in the game, I realized there's no point in hiding at all. If I shoot that guy, it's not going to sound some big alarm. There's not going to be more people. So why do I even need to hide? I mean, I guess if you were a really crappy shot and you wasted all your bullets and your weapon broke, because yeah, there's weapon durability here too, then maybe you would want to hide. But again, you can sprint around the corner a couple times and the guy just stops chasing you. So I don't understand why you wouldn't just shoot all the bad guys. The next negative I have is the lack of information, and I don't mean no tutorial or anything like that. What I mean is that there's no real objective here, no clear objective anyway. I really don't know what my goal is, or what I'm trying to accomplish here. I'm only exploring around so I can find more medkits and ammo for when I get into trouble. I don't actually know what my main goal is. The game tells you that this piece of rubble can only be destroyed by an artillery shell, an artillery blast. I have artillery shells, but okay, does that mean I'm going to find an artillery gun and actually get to use this shell and shoot that spot? Does it mean I'm going to have to wait until a bombardment happens again? Does it mean that that piece there is simply just an obstacle that'll never be moved? And what does blowing up the rat nests do? I don't know. I found one, and it asked me if I wanted to use a grenade to blow up the rat nest, and I said yes, but I don't know what it does. The game doesn't tell me. Sounds like a good idea so they don't steal my food, except I don't have any food, so why waste the grenades on rat nests? What do? I don't know. I don't understand. I could place barbed wire on this spot and it's going to slow down their raids? What raids? I haven't been raided. Why do I care if I'm raided? I don't have anything. I can hide in my safe room. So that doesn't make sense. So I don't understand. And it's because the game didn't give me enough information. So you see, those are just a few of the examples of the game lacking information in some important areas and some other areas that are just questionable. I guess you could also say the game is fairly lacking in a tutorial. Now don't get me wrong, it's kind of got one where you learn how some of the controls work and stuff. But, well, as I said, the game, it's just very vague and very mysterious about a lot of stuff here, and I'm honestly at a loss most of the time. I have no idea what the purpose is for most of my actions, and I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing, so lack of direction. See what I'm saying? Alright, so that's all I got for the negatives. On the whole, yeah, it does have a few issues that can be kind of annoying, but in the grand scheme of things, I actually found myself strangely engaged with this game. I don't like playing horror games, and this game isn't really horror. I mean, it is, but not in the typical way you'd expect. It's definitely more of a survival game than it is a horror game, but that's fine, for me at least. I think the game does a lot of good here, and I think the game is overall really well made. It's got great stability, great sound design, intriguing graphical design, an interesting idea and approach to said idea, with passable gameplay mechanics and a great price. Despite the negatives that I have with the game, I think that if you're even remotely interested in this game, you should definitely give it a try. It was fun, engaging, stressful, intriguing, compelling, and addictive. I honestly think this game is worth its asking price or even more, and it was a lot of fun messing around with it. So yeah, my recommendation is to give the game a chance. It's not doing anything wrong, and it's not broken, so feel free to purchase without doubt. Alright everybody? Alright, so that's all the time I got for this video. Thanks so much for watching, with a special thanks to those of you who stuck around till the end. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.